Kim Namjoon, or RM, is known as the leader of the most popular K-pop group in Korea. But that's the thing, he isn't just the leader of a successful boy band from Korea. He's the leader of one of the most progressive, revolutionary, open-minded, intelligent, and artistic musicians in the world. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of understanding and appreciation on how RM leads this group, the sacrifices that he makes and the victories he secretly wins, the failures he publicly suffers, and the youth he practically had to give up just to lead BTS. RM isn't perfect, far from it. Like any other person in the world, he was a child once and he didn't always know what's right or wrong. He didn't always have the right answers or the right questions. He didn't always know how to properly act, respond, talk, or probably even think. He didn't always know himself, but he always knew what he loved, music. So let's talk about it. The struggles he went through to get to where they are now and who he is now. The mistakes he made and the lessons that he learned. His past and how it helps to shape his present, the obstacles that he had to overcome and how it shaped him to be the leader, artist, and person that he is now. Well, at least a side of him that he wants us to see. Number 1, disappointing experience in society.
단 1등을 넘어서요. 전국 1%였다는 랩몬스터는
Any Asian would know that expectations come with talents and skills and blessings. Our culture has an attitude of gratitude, and with gratitude comes the obligation to give back. If you have something special, it is because you're supposed to use it to serve other people, not just yourself. So imagine the amount of guts it took for him to tell his parents he wanted to rap instead of study, despite having 148 IQ.
어머니가 이제 아무래도 안정적인 길로 많이 가라고.
To Asian culture, defying thousands of years of tradition and belief and practically rejecting the call to serve is not just rebellion, it's arrogance. But for him, it wasn't. It was passion. So he gathered the courage that he needed to tell his parents he wanted to rap. And look at him now. Korea isn't the only one benefiting from his genius. It's the whole world. Number 2, pressure of millions of dollars of investment. Big Hit built BTS around RM. That's a fact. He was first member and all other members taken in were hinged on whether or not they will work with RM. Every investment Big Hit made was all because of RM. On the cusp of bankruptcy, imagine how an adolescent would feel knowing you and you alone can make or break an entire company. All employees working there and the families that rely on them. And if you think RM wasn't aware of the magnitude of the pressure, he actually ran away from the group 6 months before debut.
이게 제가 데뷔 직전인가?
RM has always been aware and empathetic and sensitive. That is his greatest curse and greatest blessing. Number 3, led guys older than he is. For a country whose culture is centered on respect towards elders, this is beyond challenging. It wasn't easy. 3 of the members are older than he is. Jin was in fact already in college when he joined the company. RM was barely out of high school. He later on admitted he felt he crossed the line a lot and allowed his ambition to dictate his actions.
미안했던 점, 윤경한테 내가 미안했던 점.
Even in the face of obvious victory, his humility gets the best of him.
특히 되게 초반에도 그렇고 좀 뭔가 이제 해야 된다는 이제 의무감이나 책임감에 이제 많이 사로잡히면서 좀 이제 그 여러 가지 말들을 할 때 이제 뭔가 좀 버릇없게 얘기했던 적도 솔직히 좀 있었던 것 같고 어떻게 보면 단체로 얘기할 때 그래서 이제 그래도 형인데 뭐 싶은 이제 그런 생각들.
But if we are to listen to the members, the love and respect they have towards him, it is apparent he didn't simply do a good job. He surpassed all expectations, and then some.
저는 남준이를 참된 리더라고 이야기하는 거지만 중간에서 이렇게 조율을 하는 거는 그런 사람이니까 그렇게 가능한 거예요.
맞아요.
나나 진영
가수로서 아니면 그냥 사람으로서 아는 형 동생으로서도 닮은 점이 너무 많은 형이고 물론 자리도 리더이기도 하지만 똑같이 한 멤버라고 생각이 드는데
Number 4. Overtly sexual contents. Pre-debut, RM covered and wrote songs containing lyrics which people perceive to be overtly sexual. Expensive Girl and Trouble are two of those.
Take it off now, girl.
None of the lyrics imply anything non-consensual. Let me just clarify that. The criticism was mostly on the fact that he was talking about sex at all. Let's remember that RM's orientation is rap, and many of the rappers that he was listening to openly talk about sex. At that time, he was 17, and not a lot of education about the true origin of hip-hop. Add to this the fact that Korea is still, at least verbally, a very conservative society. He has another song in 2015 called Prometheus. It was a collaboration with a few other rappers. Each one represented one of the 7 deadly sins, and RM got assigned lust. RM has always been an outstanding lyricist, and he perfectly captured how lust can transform a sacred thing like sex to something dirty. But instead of being recognized for his poetry and his artistry, he got criticized for being a pervert. Number 5, owning up to his mistakes. Big Hit released a statement apologizing for all the mistakes BTS made. But RM didn't stop there. Instead of hiding behind the defense of his agency, RM manned up and directly addressed it. In March 2015, RM did an interview with Hip Hop Laya, and he talked about some of his past issues with cultural appropriation. Here is an excerpt. He didn't stop there. January of 2017, RM did a 25-minute V Live where he apologized for his past actions and promised that he's doing his best to be a better person. Number 6, growth. And the apology wasn't just lip service. Aside from his obvious immersion in art, his support for charity, he showed just how much he was growing through the most sacred thing in his life, which is music. But let me get one thing straight. Even before all of these apologies and all of these controversies, RM was already demonstrating his maturity. I'll get into that later. September of 2013, BTS released a music video of their song No, criticizing the education system in South Korea. Being one of the main composers and lyricists, he criticized how the demanding and authoritarian nature of the academe directly leads to the high suicide rates of youths in Korea. This is markedly different from other K-pop groups who avoid all social issues for the most part. He further demonstrated his maturity when he admitted that he consults with several experts on social issues, including but not exclusive to women's rights professors, to objectively examine his lyrics. July of 2016, a famous Korean feminist, Eon, who Namjoon is still friends to this day, tweeted shortly after the misogyny controversies and said that Namjoon regularly meets with him to talk about how he can grow as an artist and as a person. Number 7, LGBTQ Support. RM tweeted liking a song titled Same Love, which is a song about homosexuality. May of 2015, RM and V appeared as guest judges on an episode of Star King. One performance is a group of flamboyant gay men. All other male judges besides the two immediately voted the group out. Afterwards, RM and V were asked why they didn't vote out this group. RM said that he was impressed and complimented them in their choreography. Again, RM demonstrated his maturity. He saw people, artists, not flamboyant gay men. June of 2016, RM wrote and released the song I Know, which he sang with Jungkook. It is a love song to all of their fans and features lyrics about loving both female and male fans. But what many don't realize is that this song was released a few weeks after a huge controversy about South Korea rejecting gay marriage. December of 2015, RM and Jungkook did a cover of Choi Siwon's Fools.
Not like Charusa, don't give a fuck.
September 2017, RM wrote the love song Serendipity, which is Jimin's solo song. He purposely wrote it to be gender neutral. In Billboard, he said that he intentionally did it that way because love transcends gender. Number 8, becoming a student of their art. July 2014, BTS films a documentary mini-series called American Hustle Life. ARMYs either love this or hate this. For obvious reasons, it was painful to watch a boy band from Korea get schooled by a black rapper. I just want to pause this video to address concerns about my use of the term black rappers. I acknowledge that it sounds racist and hurting or offending people was never a part of my MO. I acknowledge that I should have explained it better, but please know there was never a malicious intent. It is in fact necessary that I use the term black rappers because they, the African Americans, own the culture of hip-hop and the genre connected to it. It was painful to see someone who owns the culture school or scold Asian artists that I obviously stan. Their validation is important because they own the culture and the genre. Applied to a different situation, if a white person tells me I suck at Korean culture, it will not affect me. But if a Korean person tells me I suck at Korean culture, that has weight on me because it is theirs and I love what they have. The same thing with hip-hop and rap. A black person's opinion has more weight on me because I love what they have. It is not to say that BTS should not have been immersed in the culture and the genre. I am firm in my belief that anyone who makes a living out of rap or hip-hop should pay their respects. We may not fully comprehend what it really means, but continuous learning is necessary, especially if one is making a living out of it. It's just that in some of the situations in AHL, I feel like they could have been mentored and schooled in a different way. I also want to note that I read somewhere that Kuyo and the other mentors were told to be harsh on BTS. I can't find the literature anymore as it has been so long ago, and I also can't verify the validity of that information. To those who left messages of support in the original uploaded video, to those who were angry but reached out for clarification before making their judgment, to those who suggested what I can do, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope that by doing this, I am able to return a small part of the big favor you did for me. Especially if you're standing that boy band. K-pop has always been a money-making industry. There weren't a lot of efforts to understand the actual culture of the genre that they are using. This was a huge reality check, and BTS was the subject. Surprisingly, RM seemed to be the only one to recognize Coolio when he suddenly showed up. Coolio got right down to business, asking BTS some basic questions about the origins and history of hip-hop, whether it's because they were nervous or clueless, but the room got very quiet. The message was clear. There were lessons to be learned. And this is where you should see the character of RM and the rest of BTS. Instead of cowering, they rose to the occasion. There were lessons to be learned and they were willing to learn it. Since then, RM and the rest of BTS changed from being a boy band to being one of the most aware musicians in the world. Look, I'm not saying that AHL is the only thing that made them the kind of musicians they are now, but it is one of the most pivotal moments in their career. And it's not because of the kind of treatment that they got from the artists and the rappers that they met in AHL. It is because of how they responded to the challenge. Number 9, attacks from his physical appearance to death threats. July of 2015, during BTS's Red Bullet tour, death threats were made against RM across all social media. And I know that some people would just relegate it to a bad joke, but for a teenager like him trying to make a name in foreign lands, this is something very traumatic. December of 2015, Namjoon uploaded 2 selfies. So many people commented on his looks, calling him ugly. Racists hated him for his looks and dark skin, while anti-racist people hated him for his past actions, even though they were the past and that he already apologized for it. There were also a lot of infamous cases where people at fan events actually just flat out called him ugly. But in true RM fashion, he didn't allow it to faze him. He earned the respect of industries and institutions like Rolling Stone, the Grammy, and Billboard to prove to everybody that no, he's not ugly. He is in fact one of the best musicians in the world. He is one of the most handsome men in the world. And he's a thoughtful, intelligent artist. Number 10, he opens up about depression. Like his decision to defy expectations by rapping instead of pursuing academic excellence, he defied social norm by openly talking about depression and suicidal thoughts. Asia was, still is, not very accepting of depression. Is usually relegated to being drama. Emotional support's primary source is supposed to be family, not clinical doctors, but RM decided to shed light on the truth about depression. January of 2017, RM uploaded a song called Always. The lyrics are pretty graphic. Around the same time, fans discovered a song titled Suicide, also written by RM.
I don't believe they cheddar. Honestly, I'm falling off the ladder. Maybe this song will be my last.
Shortly after the release of the song, RM did say that that does not represent his thoughts anymore. Uploading it was his way of moving on, saying goodbye to that part of his life.
대한 안녕이라고 해야 될까요? 그동안 슬펐던 제 자신에 대한 굿바이.
October of 2018, RM released his second album, Mono. Every song on the album marks a different place in RM's recovery and struggles with mental illness. Some songs, like Tokyo and Forever Rain, are a little darker, but it does end with hope. Number 11, Commitment to Performance. RM and Jin are known to be the least capable dancers in the group, but let me clarify that they are not bad dancers. They're just not as good as J-Hope, Jimin, and Jungkook. But come on, those three are some of the best in the world. So there should be a recognition that because dancing does not come natural to RM, he still needs to work 10 times harder as the dancers in the group just to keep up, because every performance is a gift to ARMY. And damn if he's the one that will destroy their performance. He always wants to give the best that he can to ARMYs, even if it means putting up more time inside a studio just to make it perfect. He doesn't even allow injuries and pain to get in the way of his performance. He knows and respects the fact that every person who appears in their shows and their concert spent their hard-earned cash just to watch them. So yeah, he's going to do everything he can to deserve that. Number 12, giving up the spotlight. Being the lone English speaker, RM could easily hog the limelight whenever they are in the US. Instead, he encourages other members to speak, even if it means slowing down the interview. Because to RM, his members are important. Their thoughts are important. Their voices are important. Other leaders will always hog the mic whenever they receive an award or they are in an interview, but not RM. He respects that everyone has the right to talk.
You guys taught me through your eyes, through your love, through your tweets, through your letters, through everything. You guys taught me and inspired me how to love myself. So I want to say one thing. Please use me. Please use BTS to love yourself.
RM seems to have it all now, but again, his greatest curse and blessing is his awareness. He is aware of the impermanence of their fame. Aware that for every wall they knock down, there's a much stronger one behind it. Aware that not everyone will recognize their legacy. Aware that they're humans. They evolve, they will change and move on. But RM wouldn't be able to lead BTS to where they are now if he is complacent. There are 2 more years before Jin has to enlist. Whether or not they will enlist together is still up in the air, but for now he is here, the leader, and will continue to put everything he has to do more. And no, you don't have to be a fan to respect RM. You just have to be human to recognize that RM's leadership, artistry, and humanity deserve to be recognized, appreciated, and respected.
있었어요. 잠깐. 우리가 목표로 하던 것들보다 더 많은 거를 이뤘기 때문에 우리가 왜 그래서 우리가 하고 있는지에 대한 이유나 막 그런 것들 얘기했었잖아요. 우리가 이룬 것보다 우리가 하고 싶었던 것보다 더 뭔가 높은 걸 이뤄서 이제 뭐 하지? 이게 아니라 그동안 남들이 못했던 거를 남들이 가지 못했던 곳에 갈 수 있는 그냥 저는 그런 티켓을 끊었다고 생각을 하고 싶어요. 문을 열었다고. 어차피 우리는 앞으로 더 이걸 할 거고, 음악을 할 거고 무대 할 거기 때문에.